No one expected the night to turn into a historic moment for the Outlander fandom. The event was supposed to be just another industry gala, flashes of cameras, formal speeches, and predictable celebrity appearances. But everything changed the moment Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe stepped onto the red carpet together, walking side by side with a calm confidence that sent shockwaves through the crowd. Reporters froze, fans screamed, and even security guards exchanged startled looks. For the first time in a decade, the two stars weren't just co-stars, colleagues, or award presenters. They were something much more. What stunned everyone wasn't just their appearance together, but the unmistakably intimate energy between them. Sam's hand rested gently on Caitriona's back as they posed for photos, guiding her with a familiarity that felt nothing like the staged chemistry fans were used to. Caitriona looked up at him with a soft smile, one that didn't resemble Claire's expression for Jamie, but something real, raw, and entirely her own. Paparazzi cameras clicked furiously, tripping over each other to capture every millisecond. People watching live streams gasped as the comments exploded into chaos. The tension reached its peak when a bold reporter shouted across the flashing lights, "Are you two officially together?" The question cut through the noise like a blade. Caitriona froze for a moment, her cheeks flushing a deeper shade of pink, clearly debating whether to answer. Sam simply glanced at her, their eyes locking in a silent exchange that seemed to last forever. Then, with a slow, deliberate smile, he nodded. The crowd erupted. Fans screamed. Journalists pushed forward. Social media platforms practically caught fire as millions of people clipped the moment, replayed the nod, slowed it down, and posted captions like, "He said it." In less than 5 minutes, hashtags surged to global trending lists. Hashtag Sam and Caitríona. Hashtag finally official. Hashtag decade in the making. Everything felt surreal. So surreal that even longtime fans who had shipped the pair for 10 years couldn't believe what they were seeing. Yet the shock didn't stop there. Minutes after the red carpet explosion, high-resolution photos began flooding the internet. Sam holding Caitriona's hand as they walked inside, Caitriona leaning into Sam's shoulder while laughing, Sam whispering something in her ear that made her blush even harder. These weren't staged moments. They weren't PR poses. They were intimate snapshots of a connection that had clearly existed long before the cameras caught it. Within the hour, fan accounts began digging through old interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and press junkets that had long been analyzed but never taken seriously by skeptics. Clips resurfaced of Sam finishing Caitriona's sentences, of Caitriona instinctively reaching for Sam's hand off camera, of the two sharing glances that seemed too tender for mere acting. Threads titled, "We Knew It All Along," swept across Twitter. People created decade-long timelines pointing out the patterns that now felt impossible to ignore. Then a new twist hit the fandom like another earthquake. A well-known, industry insider, posted a cryptic message. "They've been together longer than you think." The post gathered hundreds of thousands of views instantly. Theories exploded. Had Sam and Caitríona kept their relationship a secret through the height of Outlander's fame? Did studio contracts force them to stay silent to preserve the on-screen fantasy? Fans began comparing dates, analyzing old paparazzi images, and rewatching convention panels with renewed obsession. The idea that this relationship might have been hidden for years made the revelation even bigger. But the biggest shock came minutes later when their publicists released a joint statement, something no one had ever seen before. The document was short, elegant, and world-shattering. It read, "Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe respectfully confirm that they are entering a new chapter together. Thank you for your kindness and understanding." Those words detonated across the internet. Fans screamed. News outlets scrambled. Reaction videos multiplied by the thousands. This was no rumor, no leaked photo, no speculative chemistry. It was official. Across the world, people sat stunned in front of their screens, overwhelmed with emotion, some crying, some cheering, some simply whispering, "Finally." For a fandom that had waited, hoped, argued, shipped, and dreamed for a decade, The moment felt like a scene written for a finale episode. And yet, it was real. But behind the celebration, one question echoed louder than the rest. If this moment is only the beginning, what is the story that led them here? The truth, hidden for 10 years, was about to unravel. The world had barely recovered from the shock of Sam and Caitríona's announcement when the truth behind their decade-long journey finally began to surface. In an exclusive interview scheduled less than 24 hours after the red carpet reveal, Sam appeared visibly emotional, seated in a quiet studio with soft lighting. He looked relieved in a way fans had never seen before, like a man who had just set down a weight he had been carrying for far too long. When the interviewer asked him directly why the two had waited 10 years to make things official, Sam exhaled deeply and closed his eyes for a moment, gathering courage. "We weren't allowed to," he said softly. The interviewer leaned in. The statement wasn't just surprising, it was explosive. Sam continued, explaining that in the early years of Outlander, the studio had imposed strict rules on maintaining the illusion of Jamie and Claire's romance as purely fictional. Executives feared that any real-life relationship between the two leads could break the fantasy, risk controversy, or interfere with the show's global marketing. "We were told it would hurt the characters," Sam said quietly. "That it would hurt the story. And we believed them." His voice cracked slightly, revealing just how deeply those constraints had affected them. Caitríona echoed the same sentiment in a separate interview released the following day. She appeared calm but vulnerable, her hands clasped tightly in her lap as she looked directly into the camera. "There were days I wanted to say something," she confessed. "Days when it felt impossible to hide what was there. But the pressure, it was overwhelming." She described moments on set where they had to act out love while suppressing the real feelings that lived beneath the surface. "Pretending was easier than risking everything," she said. "So we stayed silent." Fans watching these interviews felt their hearts twist. For years, they had sensed an unspoken connection between the two actors, something tender, something private. But hearing them admit it had existed all along was overwhelming. Suddenly, every look, every shared laugh, every interview where they seemed unusually protective of each other, all of it made sense. What fans had perceived as chemistry wasn't imagination. It was truth wearing the mask of fiction. Sam went on to reveal that the turning point came 2 years ago during one of the hardest periods of his career. Without naming specifics, he hinted at personal struggles, burnout, and moments of doubt. "And she was there," he said, looking down at his hands with a sad smile. "She never left. Even when I pushed people away, she stayed." His voice softened as he added, "That was when I realized I couldn't keep living like we were strangers." The admission sent the fandom spiraling with emotion. Caitríona's version of the turning point was equally heartbreaking. She described a long night after a grueling filming schedule where Sam appeared exhausted and distant. "He looked so alone," she whispered. "And I remember thinking, why am I pretending we're just colleagues when my heart breaks seeing him like this?" She confessed that moment was the first time she truly questioned the choice they had made to hide. "I knew then," she said, "that whatever happened, I didn't want to keep living behind the rules." But even after realizing their feelings were too strong to ignore, they still waited. Sam explained that before announcing anything publicly, they had to finish the final season of Outlander, to avoid overshadowing the show, the cast, or the fandom. "We owed it to the story," he said. "We owed it to Jamie and Claire." He admitted that those final filming months were some of the most emotional of their lives, filled with stolen glances, quiet conversations, and a shared sadness at leaving behind the characters who had shaped them. Then came the moment fans would never forget. Sam revealed that the decision to go public happened during the premiere week of the show's final episode. The cast attended a private gathering after the screening, and Sam and Caitríona stepped outside onto a quiet balcony overlooking the city lights. "We didn't talk much," Sam recalled. "We just stood there, and I looked at her and thought, why are we still hiding?" Caitríona added in her interview that she had been thinking the exact same thing. "It was like we finally stopped being afraid," she said, wiping a tear. After that night, everything moved quickly. They talked to their teams. They talked to each other. They made a pact, Whatever happened next, they would face it together. Caitriona described the feeling as terrifying and freeing at the same time. Sam described it as coming home after being away for too long. And then came the final, official confirmation. The red carpet reveal that changed everything. In the closing moments of his interview, Sam looked into the camera with a steady, vulnerable sincerity. This time, he said quietly, "We're not hiding anymore." Caitriona, in her interview, ended with a similar message. "It's been 10 years, she whispered. 10 years of love, fear, patience, and silence. But now, we're choosing us." Across the world, fans watched these confessions with tears, joy, disbelief, and overwhelming emotion. After a decade of waiting, hoping, analyzing, dreaming, the truth was finally out. And for the first time, Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe stepped into the light together.